Thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for all of us who are listening to, especially our colleagues in Scotland that I know that they get early to be here. So my presentation is an exploration of the memorialization of the 22nd of July terrorist attack from ethical perspective. It's a summary of a paper submitted last February and currently under peer reviewing as well. Creating terrorist attack memorials is a delicate process, one that combines in a single place or a monument several layers of significance, healing the wounds for those affected while creating a memory narrative of a traumatic event that society can engage with and to learn from. Memorials became mnemonic devices of collective memory, enabling societies to process grief and express resilience. Memorialization is not a monument, a self-standing device representing something. Memorialization is to view memorial creation as an integral part of the memorialization process. The creation of a memorial device asks the parties involved to reflect on the values of and reasons of memorialization, therefore allowing itself a full expression of debates, arguments, and tensions generated in the give and take among competing opinions. My analysis acknowledges this positionality of monuments as only the outcome of a process, but places this process as a part of a more extensive caring mechanism. Healing from a terrorist attack is a complex and lengthy process that requires alleviating the pain of those directly affected, as well as rehabilitating political trust and social bonds. Perpetrators use political arguments to justify the mass murder of civilians, which can lead to reduced confidence in government institutions, exacerbate tensions, and increase distrust among and between citizens. In this context, memorialization is more than an act of immortalizing an event for future generations. It is about restoring social bonds by acknowledging that the attack aimed to affect social pillars. In this context, I frame memorialization as a complex process of caring for those directly injured by the attack and for those targeted because of their way of thinking and performing cultural and social values. Understood as a caring well for the whole society, my research aims to expand the focus of memorialization from the monument's creation to the sum of actions aiming to cure injuries and to restore trust, and to enhance democratic values for the whole society. The theoretical background of my research is the ethics of care. I have mapped the memorialization of the 22nd July as a spectrum of actions for social caring. These actions are represented in a visual model, which aim is to view memorialization as a societal intervention and a professional guide practice for the caring of those affected by the trauma. When heritage and museums professionals respond to terror attack, they mostly focus on the material culture generated from ritual objects in spontaneous memorials to historically significant objects. These curatorial works follow strict professional museum ethics standards and norms aiming for the caring for collections. Often through heritage and museum professionals struggle to apply similar ethical parameters when questioned on donors' intentions in collecting trauma, like what are their aims in collecting and donating this material, or on the use of these collections, like what is the purpose and impact of exhibiting them. Similarly, memorials honoring victims operate to fully universal deontological moral principles and to rationalize the effects and affects triggered by the tragic events. They either impart knowledge about the event or initiate a generic healing process. More relevant, but less often discussed, is the ethical status of these actions. Basically, for whom do we memorialize? Care ethics can help answer these questions by moving the focus from the production of the memorials and monuments to the relation of care between the people that memorialization processes are ultimately concerned with. Doing so, it positions memorialization as a practice for social care. Developed in the 80s, the ethics of care describes an alternative moral approach to traditional ethics by focusing on relationships, responsibility, and interdependence amongst individuals. The approach highlights that the practice of caring for others is a signifier of human interdependence and individual and social lives alike. It presumes that people are autonomous and capable of acting independently because of the complex and interrelated process of caring about and caring for all humans. In other words, there is an intrinsic network of care that we take part in on a daily basis, both in our private or in public lives. An ethic care approach to memorialization process after traumatic events can frame memorialization processes as a cluster of practice and values, concerned with caring for those collectively affected, in terms of restoring, nurturing, and maintaining the social relations that the terrorist event aimed to and has destroyed. The resulting memorialization actions are ethically framed by caring. Caring for those affected can guide the analysis of memorialization process, as I have done. But equally, care can be taken as a virtue ethically guiding decision-making when designing memorialization actions, the guiding principle when curating collections and designing monuments, memorials, museums, and exhibitions. The paper upon this presentation is based on includes a description on the memorialization processes followed in Norway after the 22nd July, from the Ocean of Roses until the inauguration of Utøya National Memorial. I don't need to summarize them here. Drawing on care ethics theory, I have mapped all these events in a model that aims to visualize this performance as an action of care of those affected by the attack. Those affected include not only the direct victims, but all the Norwegian society. My point here is that any memory work should work for them in a caring way. The trauma care model visualizes the memorialization process as a large cluster of practice for the collective caring of those adversely affected by terrorist attack. It's a cartography of the interrelation of actors and occurrences during the memorialization of traumatic events. The model moves the focus from examining the monument as a standalone mnemonic device to be analyzed, to understanding memorialization as a process undertaken from the caring of society where a monument or a museum creation is only one of the possible means. The trauma care model is composed by a radial structure of 3 concentric circles. Its radial structure combines a time-paced process and a sense of physical, emotional, and sociological vicinity to the violent event located at the core. Each concentric circle includes different groups and affected people, the victims of the terrorist attack in the inner circle and those reacting to it at the external circle. The circle maps the activities done by all these actors to maintain and continue their work and to repair the damage created by the attack at personal and collective level. These actions are represented in the upper part of the model under the form of emotions and values triggered and performed. Here, memory work. From the center to the outside, each concentric circle represents a stage of the process in a sequential time, like ripples. It does not refer to the limited chronological phases. The occurrences happening in these stages are included in the values sector and in the trauma sector. They are also positioned following a pace stage criterion, from the inner to the outer circle, according to a subjective scale of emotions and values expressions. Similar positionality from the core to the external of the model applies to the memory work process, from spontaneous memorials to designed museums. The lower part of the model maps the different societal actors caring and being cared after and because of the terror events. The inner circle includes those defined as victims of terrorism. Next to them are family members and their social circle, those directly impacted by the attack, although not injured victims. We have also first aid helpers and local residents. The outer circle incorporates those who subjectively feel affected by the terror event. For example, groups that the terrorists mean to be targeted based on their ideology, and those from the rest of the society who had been shocked by an attack of a violence perpetrated by a fellow citizen. Caring for the restoration of trust and social values like respect, unity, diversity, community, openness, and democracy are central to all these groups, but especially to the other group. Caretakers include professionals and institutions who provide psychological and psychosocial support in the immediate and long-term phases after the terror attack. Caretakers are also those counter-arguing terrorist claims using different means: political, academic, educational, and peer support NGOs. Cultural heritage curators and managers can also be considered caretakers when activating tangible and intangible and digital material, curating collections of trauma, and designing learning centers, memorials, and monuments. Following care ethic perspective, collecting and curating trauma is part of the ritual of caregiving and should be viewed through the lens of extending this ritual rather than only creating a curatorial record of them. Summarizing, my analysis frames memorialization of terrorist attacks as a more extensive practice of caring for society, following the political philosophy of the ethics of care. Rather than focus on the monument, the approach focuses on the actions, emotions, values, and materialities that result from the relationship between caretakers and care receivers in the aftermath of the terror attack. It focuses on relationships, responsibility, and interdependence among individuals, and where cultural heritage is one of the actions and materialities resulting from this dependency. It positions memorialization activities as something to be done as part of a general social aim of repairing, maintaining, and continuing our world after a terrorist attack. The trauma care model maps these caring actions that have triggered memory work processes. It maps a constellation of emotions, actions, and actors in the process of caring for society through memorialization processes. The model is based on the 22 July, but it may be applied to map similar processes in the aftermath of other terrorist attacks. Thank you very much.